Loren, who let you in here?
Tom, you did.
Oh yeah, I must have did that a couple hours ago and I just forgot.
I know. We could have had a nap by now. This has been a marathon session. But we do it for you, fine people.
And we're doing one that I feel this console. I feel this handheld for once, actually. This handheld, our second ever handheld list after the Game Boy.
That's right.
This one should have got more love than what it originally had. And we're talking about the Game Boy Advance today.
It's in your list of handhelds. Where do you put it?
This is the best handheld that ever came out.
You put it 100% number one.
Number one.
Number one. With library and everything?
Yeah.
It's
and
up there.
backwards compatibility.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Just such a damn good
I feel like it's definitely
handheld.
top 3 for me. I don't know where it lands.
Yeah.
Like DS is way up there. Dude, PS Vita.
PS Vita. Yeah, lots of people swear by that.
Man. But yeah, Game Boy Advance is one of the most legendary libraries. And that's what we're going to focus on today.
Yes.
Now, I had some stipulations I put on myself.
Loren has something he has to tell you all.
I'm not putting a fucking Pokemon, so move on. I have to explain that. It just missed me by a few years. I'm just a few years older than the target demographic of Pokemon when it first came out, and I never got into it, and I apologize, but it's not making the list.
Yeah, and this would have been the
They're
second or
phenomenal games,
third generation of them, right? Because before
Yeah.
that, it would have been like red, yellow, blue, green on the Game Boy Color. And,
This one would have been like Leaf Green, which would have been a remake anyway, which gets me to point 2.
Which gets to...
No re-releases.
No re-releases. Okay.
No Super Mario Advance 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
That shit's on Super Nintendo. Go play it there.
Yeah.
Like, I get the handheld capability, but I'm focusing on Game Boy Advance original titles because there were enough of them by far to focus on. Let's celebrate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about we celebrate with you going first?
I'll do that for you, sir. My honorable mention.
Okay.
I think I'm going to put some money down that you have it too.
Okay.
But I'm going to say it's for different reasons.
Okay.
Okay. Mario Golf Advance Tour.
That's a great game.
Made by Camelot.
Yeah.
Who... They also made Shining Force.
Yes.
They made another pretty stellar Game Boy Advance game that we might be talking about. They were hard hitting. They Shining in the Darkness. They just killer. They're a killer. So it's an RPG Mario Golf. So of course I'm in. You might not be in on the RPG side of it, but the golf.
You know, the golf was great, but all the talking and blah blah blah, and go here to talk to this guy, and there's side quests during you golfing. Like, I just want to play golf, man.
It's a fucking rule.
I thought it was just going to be like Mario Golf or NES Open, you know?
So I'll tell you what. If you happen to have this in your list,
yeah,
do you?
I do.
Okay, so we're going to split this up. I'll
Sure.
talk about the RPG elements of the side of it, and you talk about the heart of it.
Yeah.
Right? So in the RPG side, the story side, you start as Neil or Ella, I think.
Really lame names, Nintendo.
Yeah. Camelot? I know. So you start off as a boy or a girl, and you are like joining one of the... What's the forward? Is it the Marion course? You're starting the Marion course, like you're the new pros coming in. And there's like 4 of you, I think. But you're competing against the other 2.
Yes.
So whoever you choose, you can choose Neil or you can choose Ella. Ella is more accurate and has like a baby fade. Neil is more powerful and has like a bit of a draw. So if you like your shots slightly going left and more power, go with Neil. Otherwise, go with Ella. But it doesn't matter, because you play as like a twosome in all these challenges, and so she's your partner, or he's your partner, depending who you pick. You've got those 4 courses, which Tom will talk about. Each country club has like the course, the practice area, which is heavy. Like you get all these little practices and challenges. You can challenge the course, like pro, I guess you would call them. course leader.
Yeah.
And then there's also secret challenges for like earning special items. You get experience and you get like stat points from leveling up. Love this game. Love this game.
Because it's a great game.
If you win all 4 tourneys, you get to open the mushroom tour. You can challenge Mario. Otherwise, we'll talk about the other side of the game.
Well,
Tom wants to talk about it.
Yeah, you get 4 original cool courses that have never been done before. You get Marion, Palms, Dunes, and Links. Like Loren previously just said, you get to pick from 2 noobs. Or you get to pick from Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and DK. You can unlock 8 more nobodies, which you're not going to play as. Or you'll go ahead and you'll unlock Luigi, Waluigi, Wario, and Bowser. I don't care too much for the text and the RPG element of it.
No, I would have totally... You're just not an RPG guy.
No, but you know what? Playing this game was a lot of fun, and I couldn't get enough of it. There's a soundtrack to it that is like almost spot on to the N64 one, may I add too. Like it's the exact same Mario Golf soundtrack, the same style button layout where you press it to send your swing back, press it again for how far you want to shoot it.
Triple tap golf style, right?
And then press it again at the end to see how accurate you are with hitting the ball. So it was really cool to have a Mario Golf on Game Boy Advance that played really good, and I spent hours playing this game. So
yeah, like Mario Tennis rocks right up there with it too.
Yep.
Also made by Camelot.
Yep. And I played that one as well.
How many honorable mentions do you have this week, Tom?
I only have one. I have one honorable mention, and this one is just because I grew up with this game often. It's a NHL 2002. Okay?
Yeah.
It came out in 2001, and it uses basically the exact same engine as in my opinion, the greatest game ever as far as hockey for Super Nintendo, NHL 96. It's a 2002 team roster on it. You can link play against another player in this, which is really cool. And you get a season mode. And I thought it was really cool that you got to play this again, which they stopped. The last one that they made of this was 1998 for Super Nintendo, which a lot of people didn't really like because it was too fast. They kind of gave the engine to a different company. I forget who made the last two. They
turboed it up pretty hard.
And it wasn't the same good feel to it. When you shot, you could almost skate quicker than your shot sometimes. And playing this on the Game Boy Advance literally felt like playing NHL 96 with 2002 team roster. So that's my honorable mention, NHL 2002.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Link play. I'm assuming because it was EA, everybody had to have their own copy of the game.
Yes.
Fuckers.
Yeah. My number 5 is Mario Kart Super Circuit,
which did not need everyone to have their own copy of the game.
That's right. So if you want to play 4 players with this, get one cart, link it up. You can do 4-player Mario Kart.
Thank you, Nintendo.
Awesome. There's 8 racers, 5 cups. You unlock the special cup, beat that, and collect 100 coins in each cup to unlock every single cup from the Super Nintendo title.
Oh, nice.
So you could have an additional 5 cups in it.
Right.
Because it's 5 for Super Nintendo, is it not? Or is it 6? You have 4 and then you unlock 2? I forget. It's been so long now. Someone will correct me.
Someone's going to shit all over us in the comments now.
But yeah, that's my number 5. Intelligent Systems did a really good job making this game from scratch because it wasn't a port from Super Nintendo. They made this whole game from scratch for Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, well, a totally different engine. You can see it. It definitely leveraged Game Boy Advance's 32 bits of power.
Absolutely.
32.
What's your number 5?
My number 5, I'm kind of not shocked whatsoever this made my list. But I might be shocked. I don't think you've ever played this game.
Okay.
It was made by Hudson Soft for Konami.
Okay.
Which
2 big players.
That was an odd pairing.
Yeah.
That I've seen. April 2003. I know totally why I love this game because it reminds me of Bionic Commando.
Okay.
It's Ninja 5-0.
Oh, that one was good. I own that game.
Okay, perfect.
It's a Bionic Commando Ninja Gaiden style game.
Very. It's like you took the two and married them together.
Yeah, man.
I literally, my first line just says Bionic Commando meets Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% is.
So your main controls in this game, you can swing your katana by hitting the right button. The Game Boy Advance had triggers. Anybody that was not aware, it's essentially holding a Super Nintendo controller with a screen in it.
Yeah.
You swing your katana with R. You can jump. I think it was A. B was shurikens. You had like a special bar that filled faster by using your katana instead.
Yeah.
Full bar, if you used it, was like a bomb. It killed everybody on screen. But if you used it not full, it was invincibility, and you could like it ran
cool.
down, but you could like time when you wanted to use it. And honestly, sometimes you didn't want that kill everybody on the screen, so you would just instigate your invincibility just for a split second, so that you didn't fill your bar. Right? Very cool. There was like yellow bolt item upgrades. There was like your shurikens kind of had that like mystical ninja thing. Like it had 3 levels of power up. You had the regular, then if you upgraded it to your middle, it was like triple shot, and then the third one went back to a single, but it went through enemies. So if you had like a lineup of 4 enemies on a platform,
go through all
you
of
can
them.
fuck them all
Yeah,
up.
man, badass.
Yeah, that game was wicked, man. While jumping, you could press A, and so like.
Oh, and
instead
get your
of
grapple
double,
hook.
your grapple hook would come out instead of a double jump, so you could jump and then grapple and grab shit and swing around like Bionic Commando,
It was
which
awesome.
fucking ruled. Like it was so fun, man. Like you could swing across gaps, or you could like try to swing around like that Mexican like ball on a string toy, and like try to swing around and land on the platform that you're grappled to. Like it was, you could do it, but it was the controls. It had a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely.
You could like ledge grab in this game. You could slide. The controls were great, man.
Yeah, they were.
Just 20 stages over like 5 areas. Great times, man.
It was a good time.
Ninja 5-0. That's my 5.
That's a good one.
Yes. My number 4 is made by R&D 1. So they were killing it.
Yeah.
August 2001. It's Wario Land 4.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's like a bunch of mini games, right?
No, that's the WarioWare Twisted.
WarioWare, okay.
WarioWare Twisted also just 100% deserves to be in everybody's list. Like I know I left it to 1 honorable mentions, but before I name my number 1, I'm gonna touch on all them games that should be on this list, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
No, this one was so like you have that intro level that gets you into a pyramid. You then from that point you can choose your 4 paths. Like there's those 4 gems, like the sapphire, the ruby, the topaz, and the emerald.
Yeah.
And you can choose which 4 you want to go. It's a bit more of like a puzzle platformer. So each path has like a theme. Like ruby is like a mechanical theme, right? There's the emerald is like nature. Sapphire obviously the like ice water theme kind of thing, right? And then your whole point is to like go into these 4 levels of that one area and collect a quarter of a gem piece. So you get all 4 gem pieces, and the boss path will open up. You get all 4 gems, and the golden passage will like open up, and that's a remix of all 4 themes at once. And then the final boss. So here's where the fun is. At the end of every single level has a switch that will alter parts of the level, and you have to race your ass back to the entrance before the timer runs down. If the timer gets to 0, your score, not your health, your score goes down very rapidly. If it gets to 0, you lose everything you collected that level, and you have to redo it.
Ah, classic.
So and like some of it is like there were boxes in the way, and so it alters the way to get back to the beginning of the level. So it's like 2 different levels in one. So realistically, there's 32 levels in this game.
It's pretty cool.
Love this game.
A lot of
man.
levels.
Control's really fun. Like you can roll. You can like the jumps are like it's just tight control.
Yeah.
But the rolling is very important to get back fast.
Okay.
Right.
I played this once, and it gave me kind of like a vibe of it being a mix between like a Super Mario Land and a Kirby.
Yes, because Super Mario Land 3 is called Wario Land.
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
so it is an extension of Super Mario Land.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
I like that one. I'm going to skip through my number 4 because it's Mario Golf Advance. So that's where it landed on my list. My number 3 is Contra Advance, the Alien Wars EX, because for the first time I could finally play Super Contra on the go, and it wasn't slowed down like the previous versions that came out for the original Game Boy. The music is not as good as the Super Nintendo. I'll go out there and let's say it on the limb right now.
There's a hardware reason for that. The Game Boy Advance, to get great sound or like great visuals, it had to steal power from the sound.
Yeah.
Like it was a co-processor, so
that's the one thing.
They usually like favored graphics over sound.
Yeah, and sometimes that works, but man, like that's the first thing I remembered from this game was like, oh man, the tunes aren't as good as they normally are. Because the Game Boy Advance couldn't do Mode 7, they basically borrowed 2 levels from the Sega Genesis Hardcore, which would be the first time, technically, that Nintendo utilized something from a Sega game ever, if you really think about it. But those are just the 2 levels. It's 6 stages. It's 6 stages of a lot of fun, and there's your difficulty setting, which is great. And like I said already, it was Super Contra. It was Contra 3: The Alien War on the go, but then with the added bonus of, because to be honest, nobody liked doing the top-down levels on Contra, so to get 2 good levels from Contra Hardcore was really cool. And that's my number 3.
I like the top-down levels.
You like the top-down levels?
I do. I just really hated the bridge part, like the really skinny bridges.
Yeah.
Because it was like, man, you got to sit there tapping L and R like over and over and over back. Oh, no.
And you'll just
too
fall
far,
right through.
rotated too far back.
Yeah.
It's like now I just got to like risk it and try going up and slightly to the left to try to get like, fuck that.
Yeah.
But I liked them. They were fun levels.
Yeah, it was a good time. And I bought that one full price back then, so it was a good game.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna skip my number 3 then.
Why's that?
Because I think you're gonna talk about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Or I know that we put them both down. Like I'm looking at your list right now. We both have them.
Okay. Well, how about I talk about my number 2 then?
Okay.
So my number 2, and it should come to as no surprise yet again, it's Fire Pro Wrestling 2.
I think if you put Fire Pro Wrestling on any game, it's a good chance that Tom's gonna play it.
Yeah, and it's
which
basically
is, hey, it's for, like it just stands to the. It talks about the strength of the damn series, man.
Yeah, man. Like the Human Spike series was great. It's basically Fire Pro Wrestling Premium X for Super Nintendo, but on the Game Boy Advance. It's the first time for a Fire Pro game to feature. There's unlicensed WWF and WCW wrestlers in this with different colored...
Which is a recurring theme as well.
Yes, and but the thing that's odd is that there's WCW wrestlers in this, and this game was released in 2002, and the buyout...
Is when the buyout...
buyout for WCW was 2001.
Yeah.
So I found it a little odd that they're like, oh, we'll still put WCW wrestlers out there. They're still relevant, right? So I thought that was cool. The colors are changed on their outfits, so you literally just have to go in edit mode, change to the right color, change their name from Biff Goldberg to Goldberg or whatever, right?
Biff Glodberg?
Yeah, or whatever. There's a lot more emphasis on MMA in this one. There's a lot of MMA fighters in this, like Pancreas, UFC, and whatnot, because it was blowing up at this point.
Yes,
MMA was getting really big. There's a bunch of unlockable wrestlers. And even on the Game Boy Advance, you can have up to 200 wrestlers. And, and 77 extra slots to create wrestlers.
I mean, this was the era, like, even WWE tried leveraging the real fighting with that. What was the Brawl shit? The Brawl series?
Oh, Fall Brawl.
Fall Brawl series?
Yeah. Or Brawl for All, I forget now.
Steve Blackman.
God, good Lord.
Oh, boy.
That was we're not going to talk about that.
No.
But that was my number 2.
My number 2 is it's another Camelot.
Okay.
And I'm leaving you the long open mic for number 1 because it's my number 3. It should be my number 1, but we'll get there. My number 2, Camelot. Oh, you know what? I am cheating. Okay.
you are?
Yeah, this is 2 games.
Oh, it's 2 games. Okay.
It's 2001 and 2002. Because it was meant to be 1 game released for the N64, so they had to split it for Game Boy Advance. It's Golden Sun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Also-
I saw it, but I never played it.
Golden Sun: The Lost Age,
Okay.
which is part 2. Immediately picks up where Golden Sun 1 leaves off.
Okay.
You can transfer your save, all of that. Okay, so we're talking about both games. It's a JRPG with a continuing story across both games. It's these teenagers called adepts, and they're on a mission to protect the world from alchemy, which was been put to sleep, but it's coming back. Heard that rehash story before?
Yes.
This one is it focuses on 4 elements like earth, fire, wind, and ice, but it's called Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Mercury in this. Here's where this game gets interesting. Each of your 4 characters can use these thing called djinns. They're almost like summons, but they're like companions that you can fuse onto one character.
Okay.
So there are, I think, 28 total. There are 7 of each element. Now you would think, okay, Mike, character Mike is fire elemental, so let's put all 7 fire elemental djinns on it. No, because now you get no combos and it just gets nothing but earth or firepower. If you mix and match, you open up new abilities, you change their character class. It's all about experimenting which djinns are which. That's the fun of this
That's
game.
actually a really cool element
Really
I never heard
wicked
of in
game.
any RPG before.
So then those 4 elements don't just come into play in how you put your djinns on your characters and stuff like that. It also comes into play in the overworld. Like you might have a big stone pillar you have to move. You use your Venus magic to move the stone out of the way, right? The big stone pillar. Or you might have to put out a fire, or you might have to get rid of water. Like it's just there's obstacles in the overworld that you have to use your magic, and you can do it in the overworld as well. It's just a ball and ass. It's one of Camelot's best games, and they put out Shining Force 2. So it's a big screaming hell yeah for Golden Sun. My number 1. But my number 1 is Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, and I had a hard time putting this ahead of Circle of the Moon. I'm not gonna lie, because Circle of the Moon is so fucking good. This is one of the first or I think the only futuristic Castlevania instead of like Renaissance style, right? This and Dawn of Sorrow, because Dawn of Sorrow is a sequel of this. It's set up in 2035. Drax been sealed in 1999 when Prince was fucking partying. It follows Soma Cruz, who is like a potential host for Dracula. It's for whatever he's just been deemed a potential host for Dracula's reincarnation. The thing that makes this game out of control is the tactical soul system. So in Symphony of the Night, you had weapon drops or armor drops and accessory drops from enemies. In this one, you have souls, and the souls can do like 4 different types. There's the bullet ones, that's like sub weapons. There's guardian souls, which would be like your summons, and like the bat would follow you around and help attack. You would have like your enchant ones, that's like your passive abilities, like double jump and shit like that, and dash.
Of course.
And then you would have your enchant is like your passive stats, like more defense, more power shit. Your ability is like your 2 times, like your double jump and all that. It's all taken from enemies. Almost every single enemy in the game drops a unique one.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 110 like unique
It's a lot.
souls in the game.
It's a lot.
In a fucking handheld game.
Like there's so much replayability just to try to beat it a different way, you know.
Oh,
every
and
time.
then you get into New Game Plus. There's hard mode. There's boss rush. There's Julius Belmont mode.
Oh, cool.
So like, man, what a game.
Yeah.
And that was my number 1.
That's a good number 1.
But my number 3,
Is my number 1.
fuck, was it good.
And that's Metroid Zero and Metroid Fusion. I couldn't pick it. It's both of these are perfect in my eyes. I love the Metroid Zero tongue-in-cheek that it's called Zero Mission, as in this is the first Metroid game, even though it's a remake of a remake.
It's
I mean,
but
it's
I
updated.
love
it's
though
updated and whatnot.
My favorite thing. Spoiler warning for all you kids: when you beat Mother Brain, and you escape, and you're like, okay, fuck yeah, like that's awesome. Yeah. And it's not done. You're like, what?
Yeah, man.
That ruled.
And
I'm so proud of Nintendo for not spoiling that.
Yeah, and Kenji Yamamoto came back to make the music on this, and it's really good music. It's even more so, like, I love I always like it when they redo the same tracks that they've had since the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, and that's cool.
Yeah, like Kraid's Lair and yeah.
But then in Zero Mission, you're left with having to do new stuff, and like I said, they got Kenji Yamamoto to come back to do this, and Yoshio Sakamoto returned to help develop this game, which is why the Metroid series, for the most part, have always stayed true. And man, how cool was fucking Metroid Fusion and the SAX, right?
So my number 3, I put Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission.
Yeah, same
I
here.
also did, because I can't pick either. Like to quickly add on a Zero Mission, like the Zero Suit section.
Very cool.
Very cool. It's all stealth. It's all, but like stealth done right, you know. And like, cause if you want, you can just blaze right through it. Cause your little pistol shooter is just a stun gun, right? And you stun the space pirates for like 1 second. If you're really, really good, you can just stun them and run right through them.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. But like even all before that, like picking up these unknown upgrades and like the ominous music, like
very ominous.
What is this? It's like it just drew a bunch of mystery to me, man. Like I loved it.
And
Fusion,
man, the addition of cutscenes was very cool. I loved every single time I saw a cutscene in Metroid Fusion.
Yeah,
it was
like
really fucking cool.
So it came out at the same time as Metroid Prime on GameCube. And you could even, if you plugged in your Game Boy Advance with the link cable and a copy of Metroid Fusion or a save file of Metroid Fusion, you got a new suit in Prime.
Yeah, and they would say welcome back.
You got the Fusion suit in Prime, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Metroid Fusion was like I think we were expecting more Super Metroid, and it was not.
It surpassed.
The absorbing the X parasite to get health and weapon upgrades was very cool.
The level design is good. The new boss's design is very demonic looking and cool. Other than the robot that has a virus in it. I forget the boss name, but there's a big robot boss battle.
The Nightmare. Is wicked hard. I thought it was wicked hard the first time I faced it. And then like you said, the SAX.
Yeah.
That was maybe the best example of like panic in a Metroid game.
Very much so.
Until Metroid Dread, which
Dread made it pretty scary.
Fuck, is Dread good, man? I think it's the best Metroid.
It's really good, yeah.
Fusion's a close one for me, man. Like it's damn. And like the absolute, like, not panic, but like the urgency in getting your ass away from SAX because you cannot beat it.
Possible.
You cannot beat it.
Yeah.
I thought it was wild. It's just like, and the first time playing it, I died several times.
Yeah, me too.
Times, like trying to run away from her.
Playing this game.
Yeah.
But it was such a great playthrough. I would happily play this game again.
The tying all the effects to the missiles itself,
really nice looking.
I thought it was cool.
It's a good change
because of whatever they had to do to her to like pull the X parasite off.
Yeah,
she couldn't put upgrades to her weapon, like her cannon, so they had to tie the upgrades to the missiles.
Yeah,
and I like how they like
worked around it.
How Adam explained all that in the game. There's much more story than you would expect. It's more linear, but I liked it. I didn't care about the linearity.
It was so much fun, and like I already said, like to me, Metroid Fusion is like Metroid 3. You know what I mean? Like
oh yeah.
Like when I played Metroid on Super Nintendo, it was phenomenal. It was such an experience. And then when Metroid Fusion came out, like that was like my, at the time in 2002, 2001, whatever, 2004, sorry.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Metroid game at the time. So.
Oh no, 100%.
That's why it's my number one.
Yeah, I had a really hard time deciding between Fusion and Zero Mission.
Yeah, because Zero Mission, it's always fun to replay through the original Metroid. Don't get me wrong. And it's really cool that they had a bunch of upgrades, updates, and a couple little different changes, you know?
Well, the quality of life alone.
Yeah.
Because have you gone back to play
Zero
NES?
Mission?
No, NES Metroid.
Oh, NES, not
it's
in a
a
decade.
hard.
It's a hard.
It's a hard sell on
You end
me
up
now.
still having a piece of paper on the ground, and you put X's where you already went so that you don't
Yeah.
accidentally go back there.
Because everything looks the fucking same.
It does. It does.
It's a hard play now, man.
Yeah, it is really hard. It is a hard play. I'll do Super Nintendo or the Game Boy Advance games, or I'll try to beat Dread.
Oh no, yeah, I would take Zero Mission over the original.
Yeah.
Any day. But man, they nailed those, man.
That's why it's my number one.
Yeah, I can fully back that.
Yeah.
Me personally, I was fully in love with Aria of Sorrow, and then Circle of the Moon as well. Harmony of Dissonance, a little too floaty, a little too different for me. But three good Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. And I know we're missing a lot of Game Boy Advance titles. There were a lot of GBA titles.
You just can't. You can't cover all of them.
Yeah.
I know we missed your favorite, but hey, and I know it's a Pokemon, and go play it. Just go play it. Let us know how we did on this list.
See you, everyone.
Have a good day.